Boston College is the leader for a 26 quarterback that could change the trajectory of Boston College recruiting.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network, and I've been the host of this show for almost 5 years. If you want Boston College news, you're in the right place. On today's show, we're going to discuss Earl Grant, the basketball coach. Is he actually doing something right? You'll be surprised to hear what my thoughts are on that. We're going to look at Legend Bay, a quarterback slash athlete out of Texas who I've talked about before. Is there a crystal ball out, and should Boston College fans be nervous? And finally, we're going to kick it off with a game-changing quarterback that Boston College is reportedly the leader in, and I'll explain what's going on in that situation. But today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. Stock up and stay energized. So, one of the biggest names that you're going to want to know about right now that has not committed to Boston College is Ravenwood, Tennessee quarterback Femi Babalola. Now, this is a quarterback that has absolutely blown up over the last couple of weeks after a huge outing at the Under Armour regional camp in Nashville. Their, 247 staff, I work for 247, and they were there and were blown away as he was one of the MVPs of that weekend. Now, these Under Armour camps are a big deal. They give you good publicity for schools to see. And so a kid like Femi, this was big. Now, Boston College is one of the top schools for Femi Babalola. And on Tuesday this week, Tom Loy of 247 wrote that they are the leader right now for Boston, for Femi Babalola. So this explosive quarterback, this quarterback that could see his recruitment rise, BC has done everything that they can to get him here. And the kid himself, he talks about it. He says the relationships that he's made with Will Long, Jonathan DiBiase, who's been his guy for the last year, and Bill O'Brien have been integral in terms of him making BC his favorite. Now, the article also talks about, there's other schools that are looking at him, and I've known this too, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, NC State, Maryland. There's more and more coming up every week. But all those schools right now, they've offered, and BC still is the leader. That should say something to you. BC has done what they need to do. Now, the big news, other than them being the leader, which is great, is that Boston College is getting a visit from him this weekend. Babalola is confirmed to be on campus for an unofficial visit on Saturday, and this is as critical as it can get, because this is the moment where maybe you could push, if you're the school, to try to get him to commit. He loves Boston College. He's been here before. DiBiase has been down to Tennessee to see him throw. The relationship is real. This is the chance to get him to commit. And this will be the opportunity for BC to hold off if he gets more offers. Now, in the article, it mentions Clemson and Arizona as two schools that if they were to offer, would be hard for him to say no. Now, Clemson, obviously, Clemson's Clemson. But I believe Clemson already has two quarterbacks in the class of 26. So I think they're okay. Arizona, I don't understand. I don't get, other than maybe you really like hot weather, I don't know why that would be a school that you could not say no to. They're not in a power conference that's higher than you. They haven't really been all that good. There's nothing real. I mean, I think, they're about to fire their coach, or they have fired their coach. I mean, it's a mess over there. Why would you want to do that? So I'm not really putting much stock into that. So all the schools that have offered so far, I feel like BC still has, they're the team to beat. So this weekend, this is one of those that you're going to want to keep an eye on. I'm not going to say he's going to commit. I've heard buzz over the winter that he did want to commit this spring before official visit season. So that's something to be looking at. But I believe he has other official visits set up over the summer as well. But hey, BC's been cut out of those too. So maybe BC will get that commitment and he'll cancel those other offers. I like their chances here. I really do. What Tom Loya said, I have my sources as well. Everything I've heard over the last 5 months, BC has been the leader. And the reason that I think people need to understand too, and I mentioned this on a show earlier this week when he first blew up, was that BC got in super early. Remember, when he was at Ravenwood last year, he didn't play all that much. Like, you look at his statistics and it doesn't jump out to you. You like Corinne Berry, BC's other committed quarterback. You look at his statistics from last year and you're like, whoa, I can see why they want him, right? Like, good percentage, good touch. I think he had like 35 touchdowns, threw over 3,000 yards. Femi Babalola only threw for like 1,200 yards. But it's his size. He's built like a college and NFL quarterback. When they're comparing him to Faison Brandon, who's the top quarterback in the class of 26, there's no higher praise than you can get from scouts for that. That is a big deal. So BC got in when he was just this quarterback that no one knew about. And I can remember all of the folks on this show and my comment section, on my message boards, all doubting, why is Bill O'Brien going after this kid? Why is Bill O'Brien wasting a spot on a kid that isn't even really playing? And I'm not judging you because I get your concerns there. How many quarterbacks has Boston College landed over the last 15 years that you have said that about? You looked at their stats and go, why? And then they end up not doing what you're expecting them to do. So when you see a guy like Femi Babalola, that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting is that kind of like, doubt that always creeps with Boston College fans. I get that. But I think what this does signal is that, again, there is a change in the guard at Boston College. The difference from the Jeff Hafley and Steve Addazio staff to Bill O'Brien is palpable. Their ability to recruit and scout is better than anything I've seen at Boston College in years. You get guys, I mean, it doesn't even have to be quarterback. Quarterback is what you brought Bill O'Brien in for, so that's great. But I think most of you probably expected that he'd be good at that, right? Like, he's worked with Brady, he's worked with Watson. He knows a good quarterback when he sees it. And then when they're not, they end up at Florida State. But when you get other positions, you see where the scouting really starts to stand out. A guy like Sterling Sanders, who was committed to Georgia Southern. No one knew who this kid was. The scouts finally get to watch him after Bill O'Brien and his staff, Spencer Dickow, they do their diligence and they figure it out. Whoa, he gets 4 stars. Omarion Davis, another, safety that, again, under-recruited, no one knew much about. Bill O'Brien, Spencer Dickow, that staff saw his film, and boom, he blows up at camp after BC signs him. Like, this is the kind of stuff that Bill O'Brien's good at. He's got a staff that has over 100 years of NFL experience. They know good talent when they see it. And whether they have 4 stars or whether they're under-recruited or whatnot, it doesn't matter. He knows it. And so Femi Babalola is another example of this. And it's just going to continue happening. BC is going to continue to go after guys that you're going to go, huh? And then 3 weeks or 3 months later, you're going to see other schools going, oh, wait a minute. This guy is the guy I want to get. But Bill O'Brien's already laid the groundwork, and that's going to help Boston College. Again, relationships do matter. Obviously, NIL and other things do matter too, and winning on the field, that's going to all matter as well. But when you have a staff that can bond with players, that can really make a big difference. Look at the transfer portal. You have not really lost anybody of any relevance, that really was going to make a big impact on your team because they all work hard and love the way that this program is running. So Bill O'Brien, again, Jonathan DiBiaso, this group has done an amazing job with their work with Femi Babalola. We're going to have to wait to see this weekend. Could it be a commitment? We'll have to wait and see. I got good feelings about this. I'm not there to put a crystal ball in yet because I'm not sure where his mind is, but I think there's a good chance, and I'm excited to see where that goes. In our second segment, let's talk about a not so good chance and a guy that I really just wanted to end up at BC, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online, right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes. In many cases, no health exam is required. As a parent of 2 kids myself, I want to make sure my family is financially protected no matter what happens. Those kids mean everything to me, and Fabric gives me that peace of mind. And you can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day, so protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the first place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less or on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps everything going. For this week, I'm picking Aaron Judge for more than 1 home run and Shohei Ohtani for more than 1 stolen base. It's that easy. With those bats they're using in New York, I got to go with Judge on this one. They're hitting those at a historic clip, so I'm going with Aaron Judge. That's my pick. I always take advantage also of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts, so check that out as well. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. This is Locked On Boston College host AJ Black of Eagle Insider, and this daily podcast, we do everything here in a 20 to 25 minute format. And for all you everydayers out there, I want to thank each and every one of you, as the support of the show has been off the charts. I love you. Thank you so much for making us part of your daily routine. When you're done with this episode, check out Locked On ACC with Kenton Gibbs and Alex Dono. They're talking all things ACC in the tournament with Duke in the finals. You might want to hear what they have to say about that. They got some interesting takes. Check that out. Now, Legend Bay, the athlete / quarterback from North Forney, Texas, is a name that is one, an all-time name for a recruit, first of all. But looking at what he can do, the athleticism of this kid has made me drool. It's a recruit, so you don't want to get too excited, but watching and hearing what this kid can do makes me think, man, this is a guy that Boston College has to get. A track star, an athlete. He blew up at the regional Elite 11s at quarterback and wide receiver. And so Boston College made his top 10 on Thursday, which is great, until you look at the other top 10 and go, well, one of these things is not like the other, because his top 10 includes Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon. You hear what I'm saying. You get what I'm putting down. He's in there with Duke, though, too. But the thing with BC is they're getting an official visit from him. June 7th, Legend Bay is coming to Boston College on paper right now. Things obviously can change. That's the thing with these schedules, is they lock in and then all of a sudden they make a decision and then they lock out. So I just want I have compared him to Zay Flowers, and I think back to what BC could use him for. If BC, let's just pray. Let's get really, really religious here and just say, please have him come to Boston College, because I could see Bill O'Brien and Will Lawing finding quite the role for this kid. Like something like a Julian Edelman, Wes Welker slot receiver type role. But at the college level, with the speed he has, he would give you that explosiveness that Zay gave you. Where Zay, it wasn't the straight line speed, which he had. It was that agility. And I see that in Legend Bay. You see the track numbers and how he's breaking records for all sorts of track events. And I'm like, this guy, if you got him in Bill O'Brien's offense and you put him in the slot, he would be a legend, not to use the pun. Like, this guy could be something immediately. Like, you're losing Lewis Bond after this year. Lewis Bond is heading to he'll probably head up to the NFL. What a solid role player, like really good at time. Like, not at times, he's good all the time. and you replace him, you could replace him immediately with Legend Bay. Like, this guy is a freshman. You get him to enroll early. You put him out there, get Dylan Lonergan to get him the ball next year, and you got something. That being said, I get myself all excited. I see the top 10. I see the official visit. And I'm like, okay, BC, maybe a miracle can happen. The Bill O'Brien effect. Maybe something will happen. And then I start to see crystal balls start to come in for Texas A&M. Now, he's from Texas, so this doesn't surprise me. And Texas A&M obviously has a ton of NIL money that they just throw around like it's candy. So that part gets me a little bit sad because I just see this and I go, well, it was nice knowing you, Legend Bay. I wished you came to Boston College, but maybe in the future we'll see you again in the transfer portal. That's something too. You know, all this talk about, like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, if you lose a guy, you're just playing second. What you're gonna see with Bill O'Brien is that relationships are big for him, right? He wants guys that he knows, that he's scouted. So a lot of these kids that maybe don't end up at BC, how many, like, most players across the country end up in the portal at some point. Maybe that relationship pays dividends down the road. So maybe, you know, I'm gonna pray here that, you know, maybe BC loses him. Maybe he ends up as an Aggie, but maybe he doesn't work out there, and then he ends up in the portal, and he goes, you know what? I had a good relationship with Bill O'Brien and Darryl Wyatt. I'm gonna go there. It's honestly not like a delusional thing to think about. Like, this is something that, you know, it's something to like look forward to in the future. All these guys that you have, you know, built connections with, you're calling, you're texting, you had them on campus, that can bear fruit down the road. Recruiting is not just a stagnant one-time thing now. With so many of these kids, they could end up at BC in a few years. I mean, look at what BC had under Hafley, right? You had Ryan Turner, who knew, you know, Jeff Hafley, George Rooks, who was recruited by BC, even Thomas Castellanos and Jordan McDonald. They both knew Darryl Wyatt. Like, the connections to your staff is what will get you transfers down the road. So yeah, you got a whole bunch of FCS guys this year, but if you're recruiting guys and now your new staff knows all these kids that are at Texas A&M and Georgia and all these other schools, and they end up not panning out, you get the Dylan Lonergans and the Ty Lockwoods, the ones that you want. So I'm not that pessimistic about this Legend Bay thing, because maybe, you know, odds are he's not going to get it at Boston College. But if BC puts the work in, maybe they set up something for the future. And there's other players that they're doing that with as well. So that was my little thought on his crystal balls. There's two of them. There's one from the Texas A&M writer and Mike Roach, who covers Texas for 247. So they're guys that know the system. So I don't doubt them that they're probably the favorites there. Now, in our final segment, let's go to basketball. Nothing new has happened, but again, I want to kind of think about where my brain is with Earl Grant in this offseason. And just about a month in, where the Eagles are they in the right spot? I'll give you my thoughts on that in just a moment. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. That sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're up staying late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up wherever you need it. I've been staying up late watching the tournament, baseball. Sports is like, it's prime season. The Celtics are playing well. The Bruins, well, But everything else, I've been up, and 5-Hour Energy gives me the energy I need to keep me going up the next day. So head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12 or 24 pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Locked on BC, and I've been telling you about this program that we've had on Amazon Fire, and I want to show it to you again so you do not miss it.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
This is Locked On Boston College, AJ Black. Happy Friday, everyone. And to all my everydayers that have listened to all 4 shows this week, I want to shout you all out. You guys are the MVPs of the week. And for all of you that follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247, thank you as well. Now, let's talk basketball and being positive. Did I write the right thing down here? Am I going to be positive about BC basketball? Yeah, maybe I will. So this week has been a news-filled week for basketball. You've had 4 players enter the transfer portal. You had Elijah Strong, Dion Brown, Josh Beadle, and Chaz Kelly. Now, the 4 of them, I've said all along, those were the 4 that I was hoping would try to find a new role because it just wasn't working. Like all 4 of them, it just, Elijah Strong probably had the highest upside of the group, but the other 3, it just was not working. So those 4 left, but it hasn't been anyone else. Over the last week, we've seen their big 3 of Donald Hand, Jaden Hastings, and Fred Payne all do basically contract signings. I'm assuming it's NIL paperwork to stay at BC this year. And then BC released their season ticket request with the 3 of them plastered on it. So they're making a big deal out of this. But first of all, those 3 are awesome BC representatives. Donald Hand, Jaden Hastings, and Fred Payne are everything that you would want from a BC grad. Plus, they're all pretty good at basketball, which is great too. So you have 3 guys now that you can look forward to next year. This is good marketing that you're now rooting for. You want to see these guys. They made the choice to come back here. You want to see them be successful. And you want to root for them because they seem like great people. And that's good for your program. So you put those 3 out there. You made your program marketable. You made them interesting. And whether you buy season tickets or not, I'm assuming most of you probably won't. You're at least now going, maybe there's something I can watch. It's something palatable is what I'm looking for about this roster. Additionally, they've landed 1 recruit out of the transfer portal with 4 more spots left. And that is Aiden Shaw out of Mizzou. And I've again, if you haven't heard my revised thoughts on Shaw, I came around on him on yesterday's show. I like what I've seen. I think he's an upgrade for Elijah Shaw and someone who can really ball in the ACC. So that's good. I think BC is doing the right thing so far this offseason. We haven't seen a mass exodus of guys that we can't afford to lose. They've kept the young players like Fred, Luka Taves and Nick Petronio and Kanye Tachanda. They've got them coming back. You've got your freshmen coming in. Everything's coming together to give Earl Grant the best shot. And I am not there yet that this is a good offseason. There's still a ton of work to do. So talk to me in about a month if you want to hear good offseason as a term to use. I'm saying it's heading in the right direction. There's still they still got to be able to do some work in the transfer portal, but I like what they've done so far. And I think if they could you get 2 solid players that can, make your team better next year, and you won't be the worst team in the ACC. Then once you have that roster together, that means that BC has done what they need to do. It's up to Earl Grant to show the world that all the criticism and the critiques and the calls for his job were wrong. He has to prove it. If he goes out there and blows games by not calling timeouts or can't figure out the rotation and has all sorts of quirky things going on during a game, then that gives us our answer if he's the future of this program or not. Or if he finally gets his ducks in a row, can he do something that we don't expect him to do? Me personally, I think it's more the latter, the former than the latter. I think we will probably be frustrated again, but this is his chance. This is no longer we're just going to have a year where everything is stacked against him and then he can make excuses to get out of it. This gives him the opportunity to say, for us as fans too, to say, you had those guys, what happened if it doesn't work? Or we're excited that things work, and winning is all that matters. I don't care if, honestly, if you're a BC fan, you shouldn't care if Earl Grant can figure things out and get you winning again. If that's what happens, great. You have the right coach. If it doesn't work, then hey, you know what you need to do. You do it. So I think this is a good start to the offseason. And again, we need to see more names and who is linked to BC. If I start to see more the last thing I need to see is players from teams I can't tell if they are Division 1 or Division 2. You just can't next year. You need guys that are ACC ready. And so let's see if they get them. Let's see if they get the money to do it, and see if the guys that come here are ACC level players. And that'll be something we'll need to watch for. On Monday, I'm going to recap Saturday's scrimmage. I'll be up at BC. There's only one more after this week, and we'll have updates from that. I'll have everything from recruiting. Again, Femi Babalola, big weekend. There's some other big names. I'll explain who those are and give you all the details next week. So make sure you are locked into Locked On Boston College on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. To my everydayers out there, again, do one thing for me. Tell a friend about Locked On BC. Spread the word. If you have a friend that likes BC, have them come hang out with us every day here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you again on Monday for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.